I'm calling the Winnebago County Community Mental Health Board meeting to order. The date is Wednesday, June 4th, and the time is 2 p.m. We'll do roll call. Marion Body, present. Andrell Bradshaw, here. Dr. Copeland. Dr. Giardini,
Here.
Dr. Gorski,
Here.
Dick Booner,
Here.
Tim Neighbors,
Here.
Jeff Nielsen,
Here.
Dr. Amanda Cooney, and Mohammed Hughes. The next is public comment, and we actually have Karen Hill here for public comment. If you want to introduce yourself, Kevin.
Hi, my name is Karen Hill. I am an active member at Second First Church, which is just a few blocks from here. And this last winter, I was the volunteer and meal coordinator for our overnight cafe. Hopefully, you've all heard of it, but we found out even after 9 years of offering this service to our community, there are people who don't know it exists. From the beginning of January through the beginning of March, we opened our gym to provide housing for those in our streets that don't have shelter. We have done this service for 9 years. This last season, we had 398 guests in total. 263 of those were from our county. We were able to expand the amount of people we could host because we were able to make Emmanuel Episcopal to partner with us. And we were able to use the Jubilee Center as a place for the women to stay. And we could then accommodate up to 60 men in our gym. We ended up finding out there was a lot less conflict. And everyone got along better with having the men in one place and the women in another place, which had not been our arrangements before. We've been able to fund our staff through grants with the Community Foundation. And we're starting earlier this year in prepping for the 2026 winter. This last year we ended up opening a week worth of dates in December because the temps were 15 or below, or they were 50, well, we were below zero with wind chills and such. So we opened as needed for the weather. And then we closed up the beginning of March. I have a statistic sheet. If you would like to take one and pass it around. We have the guests through intake form when they arrive. They do not have to produce the ID. We have many that are illness, and we also have those who have their substance abuse issues. We had fewer occurrences with those things this last winter, which let us complete our season. So we are in the searching now for funds to help us with our staff that will, they're usually on staff from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. in the morning. And then we have volunteers in the church that help with check-in. We have partners with the Homeless Coalition, Carpenter's Place, the Rescue Mission, and they're all listed on the top of the page. But because of those associations, we were able to have 7 of the guests obtain housing by the end of our season, which is the most ever. So having those partnerships and their staff help us check in, relationships were built, and at the end of our season, we were members of our community on the street. So thank you much for your time and attention. We hope to continue conversations.
Ms. Hill, hold on. Don't go anywhere for this meeting, okay? All right, I want to talk to you, and I have some questions for you, okay? All right, thank you.
Okay, we have no presentations today. Moving to the monthly activity report, do you want to highlight, Jason?
Sure. So we had a lot of activity in May. The Building the Bridges event, I think, was a great success. There were all of the funded programs participated, and the Accelerator Award funded programs were present, and it was really a cool sight if you were able to make it to see all of them together in one room, and a lot of community members came and walked through. And some of the feedback, again, unintended consequence, because unintended positive consequence, really the goal is for community members to come in, but I get so much feedback from that event that the programs themselves learn more about other programs and meet people at the other organizations. And I think that, again, positive unintended consequences, facilitating some collaboration among the organizations. So I guess, thankful to NAMI as the lead agency on that event, but also to Chelsea, who puts a lot of effort into planning that along with NAMI. Also, we are happy to announce, although it was somewhat aspirational to get the HIPAA compliant rideshare program active by June 1st. We have 15 programs participating in the first year pilot, and they are active, live, trained, onboarded, and scheduling rides as of June 1st. So we'll definitely keep progress monitored on that, monitor budget utilization on that, and keep the board informed as that moves forward. But very happy to move forward on removing transportation as a barrier to access to care. And then I was going to highlight also that we only have 2 site visits left, so we're happy about that. Appreciate the board's participation in that. And if you remember, I was kind of rushing out of the last board meeting to get to a workshop with Alex. We were invited by Judge Leifman to come down to Miami and look at the Miami model, which is a jail diversion program that they've been working on for 25 years, where they embed peer recovery support specialists and mental health resources in every element of their sequential intercept and criminal justice elements, from crisis response all the way through to reentry. It is a national model, best practice model. There were people from all over the country there, including like 20 people from the state of Hawaii. It flew a very long time to get there. So we were very grateful to see that. They also have an incredible facility that is just about to be open that essentially has all of the elements of the community support system in one space and one location, specifically for justice-involved adults with serious mental illness. They don't have any more workshops coming during the hurricane season, but they will have more in the fall, and I'd really like board members to consider if that's something that we should bring a larger group down, board members, and maybe some key leaders in the Winnebago County justice kind of pathways and sequential intercept, because I think that is something that we could do. We have a lot of the elements of it, but I think there's some things they're doing down there as well that would be good learning for us. So I'll keep you informed as those dates arrive and as we enter our updated budget for this coming year, which we'll do in July. I'd like to maybe think about if some travel funds should be put in there for a potential visit in the fall.
Does that program include housing?
Yes.
Not just residential, but initial housing to get
Yes.
stabilized?
So they have their, of course, population size are about 10 times the size of us. So think of everything being scaled down about 10% if it's per capita comparison. But the thing that was really unique about that facility is they have inpatient crisis units on site, which allows for involuntary and voluntary admissions. And they have emergency transitional housing as a connection to permanent support housing, and they have vocational training space built on site as well.
So are those the biggest impediments or disagreements that we would have?
Well, I think the facility itself would be one. I think the second would be that they have peer recovery support specialists built into every element of their justice continuum. And I would say the third is just that their culture is built, that diversion is always the thing they're looking to get to, right? That's the
Least restrictive environment. Okay.
Miami in January, sound good? Let's go.
So that can conclude my update for today unless anyone has questions.
Okay, moving into the action items, I'll need a motion for the May 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second. Second, Andrew. Okay, any corrections, additions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next, on the action item is election of officers. So, nominations are now in order for the office of president. So right down the line.
All right, can I go first? I have said this over the years. There's four of us here, you know, Ed's not here right now, but four of us here that have been with in the inception, okay? I mean, I'm calling four, then you, Mary, it's five. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've had no problems with you being at the helm unless you want to get out. You know, unless we get caught in some scandal. But I mean, Mary Ann, I have no problem with you being, so I'm gonna put you back up. I'm gonna put you back in for nomination to be our president, or continue to be our president.
Second.
Second.
Well, that was tough to do, wasn't it?
Okay, then I'm going to nominate Mr. Cooner for vice president.
Second there.
Okay,
And I will nominate Terry Giardini to continue to be our treasurer.
second.
And I would like to nominate Dr. Gorski to continue as secretary.
Okay, nothing changes.
All right,
So fix it.
we have a slate of officers, so we can just not go individually unless there's other nominations to be made for the same offices.
One comment though, someone's kind of asked if you want to continue on, and you get a chance to respond.
Yes, I will. What about you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, you can calm down here so I can pray.
Okay. Any other nominations? None? Okay, so the slate of offices are Mary Ann Abadi for president, Dick Cooner for vice president, Terry Giardini for treasurer, and Dr. Gorski for secretary. So we will need a motion for this slate of officers. Yeah, and Andrea, okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, so that took care of that. All right, the next is resolution 2025 X, authorizing funded program payment process updates for program years 5 and 6. Okay, this section,
I said I can provide some context.
well, I was just gonna, do that, but, the Winnebago County Mental Health Board approves the following funded program requests to switch to advanced payment processes for program year 5 and 6. But if you want to expand on that context, I think it would be helpful.
Sure. So if we go back to the beginning in the first grant cycle, I think that we, and certainly I will acknowledge, I believed that programs would benefit from, embrace, and thank the board for offering advance payment. Meaning, instead of spending the money on expenditures, then submitting their evidence of expenditure and then getting reimbursed because of the lag time that takes, that if they were offered the opportunity to get a certain percentage of funding up front and then reconcile the difference based on expenditures, same accountability mechanisms, just difference in when paid, that would be welcomed. So actually, that was the first contract that was drafted was for advance payment. Lesson learned, when we went to contract with the agencies, 14 out of 15 of them did not want that. They actually said that's a painful accounting process for them, and that they prefer to have it on a monthly expenditure basis because it's very clean in their accounting system, and they just did not want to have to do the reconciliation process. So we adjusted, and one of those agencies, because we had offered it, stayed on advance payment. They have stayed on advance payment the entire time. We, since then, had a couple of agencies that asked for advance payment in future grant years, and because we had that process in place still and had contract language for that, we offered that on request. We've had a few of the smaller organizations in this past cycle just have issues with the amount of time it takes to get reimbursed, and that's hurting cash flow. You know, interest rates have gone up significantly since the first year of programming back in 2020. And so lines of credit can be expensive and costly to organizations. And so we asked organizations if there were any additional that would want to switch over to advance payment, but to do it at the beginning of a program year, because once that program year starts, we don't want to make the switch within the program year. So essentially, this would be approving for 3 of those organizations to switch to an advance payment method. We have all the mechanisms built for that. I've spoken with the finance team who does the reviews. It doesn't make a lot of difference to them. It's just really what the organization's preference is. All the accountability mechanisms are essentially the same. So I think that is probably important context for this. What this will now require, if approved by the board, is to offer what you see as a template, which is a contract amendment to those 3 organizations to switch what their current language is in the contract to the already drafted, already approved by legal language for advance payment.
Okay, and to continue on, the resolution number 2025X, authorizing funded program payment process updates for the following organizations: Rockford Barbell for their Youth Self-Regulation Program, Northern Illinois Center for Nonprofit Excellence, NICNE, their Rockford Area Case Management Initiative, and then Alignment Rockford, how the children systems change through community data. So I will need a motion for approval, and then we will have to do roll call. Harry? Mohammed raises. Okay. Any
I
discussion?
have a question, yeah.
Mhm.
Jason, so, I feel fully supportive of this, but the question is around reconciliation. So is it really up to them or is it up to us? Because if they get prospective payment, then subsequently they're submitting expense reports to us.
Yeah.
We're reconciling those with what we paid.
Correct.
What is the process if there's a discrepancy?
So if there's a discrepancy in the favor of, let's say in the favor of, I know, if they're, let's say they were overpaid, then that becomes an overpayment that is adjusted on their next bill. And likewise, if it were underpayment, then that would similarly be credited to the next.
And I'm sorry for asking this because I'm sure is this quarterly?
So it's actually, we don't know the right word for it. It's 3 times a year.
Oh.
And the reason it's 3 times a year. It's 3 times a year for a very specific reason. The grant cycle starts in June. The fiscal year starts in October. June, July, August, September is part of one fiscal year. October is part of a different fiscal year. So it's something we learned the first year when we did it quarterly. So we try to get the fiscal year closed out. So it's really important for us to get that first 4 months together right after October so that we can close out the fiscal year and have accurate numbers.
Got it. So, but this will be on a regular annual basis offered to all programs, should they wish to go through this?
My belief on this is that the best thing is just, it's only 2 different types of payment options. They both have the same accountability mechanisms. I think it's best just to offer both because different organizations have different needs.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Mary Anabati, yes. Dan Bradshaw,
Yes.
Dr. Copeland, Dr. Jardine,
Yes.
Dr. Gorski.
Yes.
Dick Cooner,
Yes.
Tim Neighbors, Jeff Nielsen,
Yes.
Dr. Penny,
Yes.
Mohammed Yunus.
Yes.
Moving into discussion items, we have our grassroots funding.
So we have moved forward, per the board's request with the development of, policy procedure, application review, evaluation matrix, all of those core documents that initiate a new funding opportunity. We believe the best initiation date for that's going to be August in terms of actually launching that. So what we have for you, the update I want to give you is that we'll be sending out draft documents for your review. There's not you don't have to review them in a day, but within, Alex will send those out and she'll have a requested timeline for you in terms of when you can provide your feedback. Simultaneously or concurrently, I'll be sending those to legal for review as well, so we can might get a little iterative in terms of board feedback and then giving that to legal for final edits. But then once that's all board feedback's been received, final legal review has been made, we anticipate to provide that to the board in August for final approval, and then that would, with approval, launch that program through the various cycles of application, letters of interest, etc. So just to provide you an update on that, and keep an eye for emails and correspondence regarding.
Questions?
Do we have any sense of groundswell around this from what you've been hearing in the community? Any of you been it'll bring forward a fair bit of interest, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. There's a few, just in terms of the organizations we even already work with, I've mentioned there could be the potential for a few of the core programs that have really small grants. If they wanted to make the switch, they could apply. I know there were some accelerator programs that were smaller organizations that just had one-time funding to do something, but have expressed interest in more long-term funding in our smaller organizations. And then I know just general community feedback, there are some smaller nonprofits, some that have even started within the time that we've been around that have expressed or have asked throughout the years about that. So I think there's interest. I don't know if there's so much interest that it will reach the full capacity of what we have to award, but I think that will be something that we will learn from this process as well.
And plus we haven't voted.
Right, we haven't promoted it. I have discussed with some of the, I guess you'd say like network organizations that work with smaller nonprofits. I know many of them are excited about the idea and are willing to help promote or communicate the information out.
Maybe remind, maybe just me, capacity on this program, what the incentive is going to be?
So the actual award amount is drafted as up to $100,000 for each year for 2 years, and to prioritize organizations with an operating budget of $1 million or less annually.
Moving on to other matters, the only other matter that I have a question about our candidate for board replacement, have we heard back at all?
I have not heard anything yet. I think that's still in process. Okay.
What is the process on that? Would the chairman of the Winnebago County Board notify us? Is that something, Tim, that goes to you, being the liaison between the two boards?
So what happens is, the chairman generally picks out the person out of the one that he selects. Then well, before that, he's supposed to send out the resumes to all the county board, but the chairman is the alternate deciding factor. So he'll pick out that person, then the county board, he'll present it to the county board, who he selected. Then that selection lays over for 30 days, unless someone suspend the rules and wants to vote on it the same night. Then after the 30 days, well, it's not 30 days, it's 28 days, or not, total of 2 board meetings. And so after that, then it will come up for vote, the person will be voted.
Do you think now that the chairman has regained its power that this will be handled differently?
No, it's the same rules.
Okay,
She said, you know, that.
thank you. Moving on. Sorry, Tim.
So with that being said, do you feel like it's, because generally we try to keep all appointments laid over for 30 days just in case there's any discussion. So with them saying that we have a quorum, they generally won't push it past, they won't suspend the rules, but if we feel like we need to suspend the rules, we will. And I just want to ask the board, do we feel like we need to suspend the rules, and I make that motion before.
Well, we'd like to remember, and we all chose our recommendations and send them forward. So.
We survived on short votes, right?
Pardon me?
We survived on short board members.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a reason to
This is the
try and
reason.
change the process, or just let the process take its normal?
But just because it's the process doesn't mean it can continue. There's really no purpose of letting it open. I mean, I think the choices that were made were pretty consistent. Amongst the board members. So I mean, there's nothing on this team that I'm aware of. There was no discussion or anything about the individuals that was chosen in this group. So just because it can be made over, what would be the point? Let's get a person on board, let's get going, and get ready to start doing all the stuff for the next year.
Another person.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
So maybe just an update from find out where he's at in that process.
I'm gonna make a motion for adjournment.
Need a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.